Do we see everybody here? We're just giving a few seconds. Nalini had technical difficulties, so she logged out and she's coming right back. Let me just see. Lou, is everything okay with my presentation?
Yes. Good to go.
Okay. Do we have Nalini back?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I am very excited to host this session with Blushark, and we'll be diving into delegation and automation. Law firm owners are constantly pulled in a dozen directions, and the real challenge isn't whether you should be delegating or automating. It's knowing what to delegate and what to automate. Do you agree? So over the next hour, we'll walk you through practical strategies, examples, and tools that leading firms are already using to strike that balance. Our goal is simple: to help you save time, reduce stress, and focus on what matters most, which is serving clients and growing your practice. So let's make this interactive. Please feel free to ask questions and also to share your challenges in the chat during our presentation if you feel so inclined. So let me introduce myself, and then I will hand over to Nalini. I grew up in Brazil in a very traditional and religious family. My father was an entrepreneur who sacrificed his health and family time for work. He even slept at his factory some days. I wouldn't see my dad much. My mother, on the other hand, believed that women had to choose between career and family, and she often told me that I couldn't have both. I love my mom, but hearing that lit a fire in me. Why would my brothers have it all but not me? And that inner fire led me to study psychology, to challenge those limiting beliefs and to help women live a full life. Later on, I moved to the US, I earned an MBA, and I climbed the corporate ladder in the high-tech space, proving that a Latina could be successful. But success didn't equal happiness. It all came to a breaking point when I became a mom and my boss showed no interest in supporting me as I tried to balance work and my newborn. And that was what inspired me to create Stafi. Today, we serve 420 law firms through our dedicated legal remote staffing services, as well as our 24/7 live receptionist and intake service. And we just launched a new service, case outsourcing. Our mission is simple. We help lawyers scale without sacrificing health or family. And we give law firm owners freedom to be able to leave work at 6 p.m., to truly enjoy vacations and know their firms are still running smoothly when they are not there. And I'm very excited to introduce Nalini Prasad. She's the Chief Strategy Officer at Blushark Digital. I met with Seth, Blushark's owner, at Pioma. It was earlier this year, and then we immediately clicked. And then soon after that, I was introduced to Nalini, and she's an incredible professional. I'm very proud to be here with her today, hosting this webinar. So Nalini, on to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Raquel. I'm also very excited to put all of our knowledge in one place for everybody today. But as Raquel said, I'm with Blushark Digital. We are a full-service digital agency working on basically SEO. I've worked with Google's algorithms and search engine optimization for over a decade. But for almost the last decade, I have been speaking at conferences, about 30 legal conferences a year. And what has transformed there is that I have grown much more outside of just, hey, this is what we do for link building and this is how you want to do your content and chasing Google, to really truly all-encompassing passion for growing law firms as a whole. So in traveling to these conferences, meeting all these different companies, I've had a really good opportunity to work with all of our clients, almost 400 clients here at Blushark, to really get feedback on what works for their firm, from intake to discovery to pre-litigation, right? All of these little pieces of the pie and the puzzle. And today, that's kind of what I'm excited about talking about is beyond digital marketing. How can I be leveraged as a resource to help you guys understand what things other law firms like you are using? Most of you have maybe seen me at a conference that might be on this. Some of you are clients. For those of you who don't know me, I am always on the road, like you guys said, but I thought this would be a fun little minute to do a fun fact. Most people don't know I was born and raised in Florida, and my first job was actually at Disney. So I was not a character. I did the register because I am me. I am not that fun. But a little bit about me is here, and I'm excited to get this going. So I'll pass it back to you, Raquel.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nalini. So I would like to share a recent experience with delegation and automation by highlighting a law firm client story, and then I'll hand it over to Nalini so she can share her experience. So this is a PI law firm with 50 employees in Maryland. Most of their staff is in the US, and they decided to create a remote team of case managers. They now have 5 who handle all of the tasks that require a lot of time spent on the phones, such as collecting medical records, filing insurance claims, requesting police reports, checking in on patients to see how they're progressing, and scheduling patient treatments. These case managers spend a lot of their time on the phone, as you can imagine, and by delegating these tasks to this team, the attorneys and the senior staff at the law firm got, as a result, about 10 hours back each weekly to focus on things that require their specialized skills like litigation preparation, court work, and negotiation. I also want to highlight that these remote case managers use AI to improve their productivity, not to eliminate their role. The AI allows them to get case summaries, it organizes and analyzes medical records, it builds case timelines, it identifies injuries and treatment discrepancies all within minutes so that the case managers can dedicate the majority of their time on things that require the human touch. On our yearly recap with this client, they told us that by implementing these changes into their workflow, such as hiring an offshore remote team to handle the cases, plus incorporating AI tools, they were able to grow by 30%, which is awesome. Nalini, would you like to share a story of your own?
Yeah, I think part of what I'll talk about on this webinar will be the automation piece. So delegation, extremely important, Raquel, to figure out how to do that. And then how do you leverage all of these new individuals that you've delegated to automate and still be even extra streamlined? One of the pieces that I find very often with a law firm is when you're in that scale growth mode and you are going from maybe 2 or 3 lawyers to wanting to get to be 5 or 6 lawyers, you're at that 1 to 3 million and you're trying to get to 5 to 10 million. I find that a lot of you guys are still doing intake on your own. It's the lifeblood. You're nervous that you're the best person answering that phone call, right? And you're like, okay, well, I can be the only person doing this. And you're afraid to delegate that. And you're absolutely afraid to automate that, right? And to make that more streamlined. But as an example, last year, one of the big things that came out was for Google, if you didn't have 24/7 as your office hours, you weren't showing in the local 3-pack or on Google's page 1 outside your office hours. So if somebody was searching at 6 p.m., which makes sense, they're off of work now and they're able to search for a lawyer, and you had that your office closed at 5, you weren't going to show up, right? And you're not showing up because you're not able to answer the phone after 6 because, you got life work balance, you got kids doing soccer, whatever it is, and you don't want anybody else picking up the phone for you, right? But what we found was last year a huge change and shift in mindset where a lot of our, Kimberly, at least you can admit it, right? That we had a lot of firms say, okay, well, I understand the value of putting 24/7, but now shit, I need somebody to pick up the phone at 9 p.m. What am I going to do? And it was getting after hour services, whether that's a VA that you have personally for your firm or using someone like a Ruby Smith AI, one of those answering services, right? Yeah. all of these different programs and platforms out there for you. And there are a lot of AI automation platforms to take that intake now too. And so what we found was across the board, every firm that did decide to take that leap of faith one, had more call volume because they were showing more often, and two, they were signing more cases because they were able to delegate and automate that piece. So intake, that's the example I'll give, how quick and easy it is to implement and how meaningful it can be for your practice, because that's how you actually sign more cases. And at the end of the day, that's revenue.
Yeah, great point and great story. So what is delegation, right? So delegation is simply trusting someone else to take care of a task that you don't need to do yourself, so that you can focus on what really needs your attention. So examples, instead of cooking, you order food. Instead of fixing your car, you're taking it to a mechanic. That's delegation. A lawyer delegates scheduling depositions to a paralegal who manages the calendars and confirmation with the witnesses. To truly learn to delegate, you need to focus on the end results and not on the how. So if you're constantly focusing on how people are getting things done, you're micromanaging and not delegating. An important part of delegation is making yourself available to support the team when they need. Sometimes they might need help with the how, right? And feeling that they can come to you or someone in your team for support is very important for best results. I had to learn to stop micromanaging. I had to learn to focus on outcomes instead of being there every step of the way. That was something important to me, and it was something I honestly struggled with. And the results for my company have been really positive. We have doubled revenue for the past 3 years, all with a fully remote team. 99% of our team is offshore in Latin America, and we now have 435 remote legal staff that are placed with 350 law firms across the US. And our 24/7 live receptionist and intake service is being used by 100 law firms. And we have 95 internal staff to ensure that we're delivering excellent service to our law firm clients. And why am I saying all of this? Because delegation can be a very powerful growth engine for any business. And what not to delegate? I certainly would delegate your strategic vision, high-level legal advice, our zone of genius, and mission critical decisions. Those are very important to be taken on by the business owner. So right now I'm going to be going over 4 key roles that any law firm should be delegating. And let's start with intake, because what lawyer doesn't need great intake, right? So intake is where most law firms quietly bleed time. It's also where law firms miss the most opportunities, either by missing calls or by not having the right intake process and the right person with the soft skills and interpersonal skills they're required to do an excellent job. Nalini was just saying how important it is also to show on Google to be open 24/7, right? So that's a key aspect to be able to show up on to be more visible online as well. I always say that the intake is one of the most important roles inside of a law firm. It takes 7 good impressions to undo a bad impression. You need someone who shows empathy to the person across the line, and that's what builds trust. Answering calls, chasing documents, scheduling qualified appointments and consults, these are all critical, but they don't need a law degree in order to execute them, right? In fact, many lawyers' biggest strengths, they aren't their client-facing skills. And what is a smart model to get the most value of a trained intake for a law firm? Pair them with AI tools and a well-reputable 24/7 live receptionist in intake service so that no calls are missed. Because missed calls are missed opportunities. Nalini was just brought a great example that framed that. It's also important to ensure that after hour service that you're choosing is representing your firm with empathy and care. So be very thorough at doing that type of due diligence. While the intake specialists manage calls, follow-ups, and client engagement, AI can truly help an intake team sending reminders, auto-filling forms, triggering emails or texts, and updating the CRM instantly. Leave more time. So if you're leveraging AI tools like this, you're going to be leaving more time to the intake person to spend with clients, building those relationships and trust, because let's face it, AI doesn't build trust, people do. Paralegal tasks are another area where attorneys burn precious hours. Drafting documents, doing research, preparing case files. These are essential, but they don't need to be done by you. If you're spending 15 to 20 hours a week on paralegal level work, that's time that you're not billing at your highest rate. And delegating to a paralegal ensure that attorneys focus on strategy, on outcomes, instead of administrative tasks. And with the AI support, paralegals, they can work even faster, drafting initial documents, summarizing discovery, and organizing those evidences. But it's very important to highlight that AI doesn't replace a paralegal's judgment, accuracy, their legal knowledge, especially state and federal specific legal knowledge. As you know, AI can make things up and mix facts. So a human paralegal ensures that drafts are correct, that context is making sense, and sensitive information is handled with care. When you combine both, you have more billable hours, you have faster moving cases, because AI will be handling the repetitive tasks, while a skilled paralegal will ensure that quality, the compliance, and the precision. If you trust AI 100%, you risk errors, compliance issues, and lost context. But with a skilled paralegal, you get the accuracy, the accountability, and the judgment that AI cannot provide. This is very important. Attorneys often underestimate how much time they lose managing emails, calendars, and logistics. Every minute spent coordinating meetings or digging through your inbox, it's time stolen from billable work. A great executive assistant protects your time. I have 3 assistants on my team. An executive assistant who manages my inbox, schedules all my meetings, coordinates mine and my team's business travels. I have a personal assistant who handles everything related to my family vacations, household stuff, pay our bills, manages health-related appointments, does anything related with our cars, boats, etc. And I have a chief of staff who is the filter between me and the entire Stafi's team. And in all honesty, I wouldn't be able to function like I do without them. They give me back so much time, it's not even funny. AI can definitely help by auto-sorting emails, suggesting meeting times, sending reminders, but it can't read the nuance, anticipate your preferences, or handle sensitive communication. And that's where the human touch comes in. A skilled assistant, they learn your rhythm and they help you operate at your peak efficiency. There's no questions, like incredible investment. What I get as a result of, it's of ultimate importance to me. Being more present as a parent, being able to go into multiple family vacations and truly be on vacation, traveling with my team to events, which is something I truly enjoy. I have time to go to the gym daily, and most importantly, guys, is my mental health. Let's talk about marketing. Marketing is usually the first thing the law firms put on pause, not because it doesn't matter, but because attorneys don't have the time. But every week you don't market is a week of lost visibility, loss of potential leads, and growth. And the marketing assistant changes that. They handle your newsletter, they manage social media, they update your website, and they keep your campaigns moving so new clients keep coming in. Now, when you add AI to the mix, it can help tremendously by scheduling those posts, generating reports, personalizing email flows, and tracking engagement data in real time. But here's the thing. You still need a human to craft the story, to make decisions based in data analysis, and to build trust. Clients can't tell the difference between a real human and AI. AI can assist, but only humans can connect. Your firm's marketing must reflect your vision in your clients, not a generic template.
So I have a really quick thing to add there too. The two that you just talked about, the executive assistant and the marketing assistant, what I find a lot of times is that those are as valuable as you just mentioned. But when someone's having an executive assistant for the first time or a marketing assistant for the first time, they have no idea how to leverage these individuals. And they're like, oh, okay, well, they can do these 5 things, but they don't have any idea that they can do these other 17 things. Like you just said so quickly how many things your executive assistant does. Something I know you're not going to talk about on this webinar, but I think is really important is that I have looked at a lot of different staffing companies. And one of the things that makes Stafi really different is how they actually help you determine how that staffing person should be leveraged. So there's this crazy, incredible dashboard. I know if you talk to them after, you're going to see this, and for the customers on this webinar right now who use Stafi, I'm sure this is like the number one thing that's impressive is they have put together an incredibly large list of all the tasks that you don't think about that are happening in your law firm that need to be handled. And it's like a checklist. You're literally like, oh yeah, I need all these things. And then it matches to the right person. But so for firms who are like, yeah, I want an executive assistant, but I'm pausing. I'm not doing this yet because I don't know how I'm going to leverage them. That piece is something they absolutely help you with. And you're going to end up putting so much more on that task list than you even realized. And I say that knowing that marketing assistants are really hard to hire because a lot of in-house teams are like, I don't know how to do content. I don't know how to do link building. So I don't know what things I'm doing here. But if you have someone that has this long list of items, it kind of helps with that. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew that that's a piece. You shouldn't stall from leveraging these really important roles that give you time back in your day just because of that piece. Companies like Stafi help streamline that piece too.
No, and thank you so much for bringing that up. And it's so common to have lawyers come to us and say, I need to hire a paralegal, and they leave the initial session with another idea of what they need after they see all of the tasks that can be delegated and what type of profile you need, background, soft skills in order to be able to do those tasks correctly, right? So thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah, definitely we're not covering that today, but that's something that we should think about covering in the future. It's like all of the tasks that can be delegated based on each role. So thank you, Nalini. Another thing that most lawyers fear a lot about is bad onboarding, right? You hire someone great and then there's chaos. Like the most common mistake that law firms will make is assuming that the new hire will figure things out on their own, and guess what? They won't. A strong onboarding process sets clear expectations for responsibility from day one, providing the new hire with SOPs that they can follow. And for those who don't know what SOPs are, they're standard operating procedures that explain how tasks are done step by step. Handling daily video calls, for example, between the new hire and the team members to set direction and check on progress and provide regular feedback are very important as well. And these are only a few of the important aspects of a good, solid onboarding. So I think we mentioned, okay, not knowing what you can delegate to each role is one thing, but also not knowing how to properly onboard a team member is definitely a struggle that law firms face with. And I have seen so many law firms fail with a great hire due to lack of any onboarding process at all. And that's why I've decided to implement an 8-week onboarding protocol where we handhold law firms throughout the entire process, beginning to end. Because to create a solid, successful team isn't just finding the right hires. That's the step one, right? Now, and then after comes the ability to train them properly, to continuously coach them, and to properly onboard them is what's going to make the difference to your business. So I think we're going to just pause for 5 seconds here to do a poll, to answer to a poll. Did the poll come up?
Did not get it, but I probably won't as the panelist. if one of our attendees could confirm in the chat that they have gotten the question. It did not pop up, says Kimberly.
Okay, so the poll didn't pop up.
MJ?
So, guess we can work on fixing it and send it towards the end.
Yeah, we should be able to do the question at any time, so we can add it after when we have another minute.
All right, so before I hand over to Nalini, automation is amazing for repetitive, rule-based tasks. Think scheduling reminders, sending follow-up emails, or generating standard forms. It saves time and reduces human error. But this is important. Automation should never replace empathy, nuance, or judgment. Humans should always track the output that has been created by AI. Softwares, they have bugs, they make mistakes. I've seen firms try to automate client communication and it ends up creating distance instead of trust. We have heard of law firms relying on AI without proper supervision, which led to submission of fabricated or hallucinated information to the courts. I'm not saying that humans don't make mistakes. We do. Try to be productive after not sleeping for 24 hours, right? We all know how that works. What I'm saying is that combining highly specialized human talent with AI is the future, is how law firms are exponentially scaling. AI handles the routine. Humans bring judgment, empathy, accuracy, and specific legal knowledge. And the results of combining both are delivering faster results, more billable hours, and less burnout. All right. Nalini, you have the floor.
Is that showing properly there with my presentation screen? Does it look good, Raquel?
All good.
I can see your.
Perfect. Well, I think that Raquel did an amazing job of explaining that AI is extremely helpful. It's a great tool, but you always need to layer it with a bit of human touch, right? For a variety of reasons. So one of the things that I have to offer here today is a couple of different products in different aspects of your law firm that can help streamline that piece of the firm, right? Now, there are tons of products out there. There's lots of shiny objects. There are some, of course, that are not in my list that are good products, right? The way that I create my list, again, is based on talking to my clients, understanding real feedback where they're not going to hurt the product's feeling, right? By telling me, this is what I think, this is what doesn't work, this is what does work. And then I actually go in and I vet and demo these products myself, kind of when I'm on the road or just at different tech shows. Again, these products, take them with a grain of salt. I would love feedback in the chat if people are using the product I'm talking about and if they're thumbs up, thumbs down for any reasons, or if they're using a competitor that I should go look into that works really well. Two, I love to offer options, right? So something you'll see is that maybe for AI demands, there's not just one product that I talk about, but two that do it, because I do think that going and talking to these companies and figuring out which one is correct for you and your firm matters. And then there's some in here that are just like really interesting to me. There's a couple I'll mention that I don't have as slides. We're going to give you this deck after, or you can right, Raquel, we can send it out. So there's a lot of information on the slides, but I'll kind of go through them big picture quicker. So one of the first things is that I found really impressive is this Foundation AI. It's kind of new. You're going to learn that a lot of these products are West Coast. They're tech heavy, right? And so California is where a lot of that money and that think tank actually is. I find that a lot of firms that are on the West Coast are the ones that get they get just exposed to these brands and these products quicker. And so the West Coast firms tend to have these things implemented really quickly, might be their test folks. And here on the East Coast, we're like barely hearing about it. So hopefully, based on where you guys are, I can get a feel for that as well. Foundation AI is a company that will basically automate all of your paper and your mailroom, right? So it's going to turn your documents, emails, and faxes into searchable PDFs. It's going to be online. And now, because these are so important, these pieces of mail, right? When you get it, like, when am I going to have to be in court? Is there an extension? All of these things. You usually put somebody really high dollar and very high value in this role to simply sort mail, right? And to file it properly, because the value is very important there. What you're able to do here is, if you used a program like this, which has now been tested with many firms are using it flawlessly, is that you can take that individual who should be doing so much more at your firm, and you can take their time back, and you can start having them work on those higher best use cases. And then they're just really a human check on this, right? So it reduces their time immensely. Definitely something to look into if you do have a lot of paper in the office and a lot of mail, and you're doing a lot of litigation and a lot of cases that are coming in. But it really, this one I've seen work in terms of giving people back talent in their team in terms of hours. The other thing I will say is that, notice I don't have any contact information here because I don't get it. These are products I believe work to help streamline law firms. I get no kind of referral fee here if you guys go and talk to them. If you want more information on them, I'm happy to do introductions for these folks, but you can just Google and find them on their website. A couple I do have demo links that you can look at as well. Really taking off. Intake intelligence, this is literally where it is grading your intake in real time. And in the picture, you can kind of see they give it a call score, but they give the case type a grade. So they're literally saying the case quality here is an A based on rubric of like 10, 15 different items. What they heard in the call, it checked the box for 6 of the things that make this an A case, high value case. There's damages, there's injuries, whatever it might be. And right away, it sends an email and it says, hey, listen, you need to call Marie Dahlwing back and you need to tell her these things because this is what your intake person missed. So this is happening in real time. There's a dashboard. It's beautiful. It's incredible. If you're at that point where you're ready to start training your intake and you have a larger intake team, even if you have a smaller team, sometimes these are based on by minute that it's listening to. So the volume, if it's a lower call volume, it'll be a lower monthly fee. It is something to truly look into because I am telling you that this is the easiest way to save cases that you accidentally hung up on, right? Those people are already calling the next firm. If you lost it, you lost it, but this gives you an opportunity to go back right away as the lawyer or as your tier 1 intake specialist armed with information, right, on that call. That's called Speed AI. There's a couple other products like it, but it's the one that has had the most investment and the longest time on the market in legal specific. This is Steno. People might know this firm and this company out on, again, the West Coast. This one does stenography. So it is all of your depositions and court reporting and note taking. They also have the reason people loved them was it was delayed payment. So you could do all of this up front during your depositions and all of your pre-trial prep, and then you're not paying until after, right? So that helps for a lot of the people who are on contingency that are PI in this space, but they came out with a new AI component called Transcript Genius. And this basically allows you to search all of your transcripts to find all sorts of information. It makes sure that your data is not used to train new models. This is one of those as an example that I have a video where you can watch it work, and then you can see the demo as well. But in particular, this is something that is a product that there's not a lot of companies competing with this piece. So the ability to sit there and really analyze multiple transcripts side by side, find certain words, and have that be automated is incredible. Again, human check, but the speed could take people hours to do that before, right? Discovery, I think a lot of people are on this one at this point. Esquire Tech is available in certain states. So that may be a barrier to entry if it's not available in your state yet. It's kind of all over the country as to which states are being used, but this one is basically streamlining your discovery process. There are one-click objections. So with one click of a button, it'll write up a whole section on what an objection to that discovery is. You don't have to keep copying and pasting the same item over and over again for like similar discovery items. It'll also kind of give information to the clients right away. So it'll communicate through there, and it will also help it automate e-serving your opposing counsel and getting the clients to sign things, just all the different pieces of automation here to clean up and really save a ton of time. Esquire Tech has a ton of data on their website and with their sales team on like how many hours in case studies it's actually saved a firm. So that one I know has been extremely helpful for lots of firms. Demand, this was one of the biggest AI pieces that came out that has been the shiny object for a couple of years now, but Even Up was one of the earlier adopters. They had the product, they had investment, they created a really strong product, and it continuously gets updated. If there's people using Even Up, I'd love to hear, how long you've used them and if you've noticed that as well. But from the beginning, they were able to do things that lawyers had never seen done before in terms of creating that demand package using all sorts of data points about pain and suffering, loss of earnings, cost of future care, just taking medical summaries and flagging missing bills and records that sometimes you don't learn about till closer to the trial. So it was already really awesome at the beginning. Now they have so many more pieces to the pie. Even Up is always getting better and better. And the same with Supio. They came out a little bit after. But they do just about the same thing. This is one of those where you want to compare them side by side and see what fits best for your firm. Supio, their one distinction at the beginning was that they had this interactive chat bot. So within the program, you could ask it to find information or create something for you. Now I believe that Even Up has that as well. So a lot of them are neck and neck in terms of what they can do. But yeah, I would be really interested in if anybody's used both and then has come out with why they like one over the other. Keep in mind that if you used them early on 2 years ago, their product has advanced quite a bit. And so it might be worth giving it a shot again, right? Because if it's just pay per demand, you could try it for just a couple and compare it, but it's a time saver as well on your human capacity. Case status is one of the last ones we'll talk about here in terms of a type. And I hope you guys have seen that these are all different elements, right? There's intake, there's discovery, there's litigation pieces. Case status is really helping with your client journey and client experience. So I truly believe there is no excuse for a law firm to not have a very nice, thought out process for automating communication with your clients, whether your practice area is family law, criminal law, or PI. In every case, there are certain milestones and moments that you need to update your client where your client's going to call, be upset because they haven't heard from you. These products like Case Status are there to help be proactive. They set up automated responses. They're able to make sure that they're texting, right? So that it's going to a method of communication that your clients will actually read and see, make it easy for them. But one of the coolest things that's happening here with the AI piece is that it's got translations in 138 languages or more at this point. So if you need to communicate with folks in Spanish or in Turkish or whatever it may be, Japanese, and you only have an English speaking set of paralegals and office assistants or whoever is that point of contact, this allows you to do that, right, flawlessly. It also has these new components of message sentiment. So it's learning. How does Julie respond to clients all the time? What words does she use? What's her tone, right? And how does Sandra respond to people all the time? Well, you know what? I think Julie has a better way with the clients. Why can't we mimic Julie's tone for all of our communication now, right? So Sandra could be using the words and the scripted responses and information in the system to send her clients so that Sandra's not using her tone that may not be working with the clients, right? It's getting to be that piece where I know, Raquel, you're talking about that sentiment. You can't fake empathy, absolutely, right? But we are getting to a place where they're able to read tons and tons and tons of text messages and understand which words did the clients respond to better, right? And so it's not the same as saying like this is a human that knows how to talk to somebody for sure, but right. We're getting to a point where that kind of thing is helpful. Case status, the other thing that I always say is the more you treat your clients well through that journey, the more likely, whether you win or lose for them, they become an advocate for you. The highest dollar cases you sign are generally referrals from past clients or other lawyers. Building this army of existing clients that have had such a good journey with you. You were always communicative. You kept in touch with this and that. You made sure they always had the information in front of them. That is very, very, very important to your bottom dollar in the end, because these people will then be your greatest advocates and they will be bringing you clients in the future. Case status is one, Hona is another. If you're using Hona and you love them, like I'm not saying Hona is not good, they're both very good companies. They both have a lot of AI investments that they are trying to make their product better. Case status is just one that I know that a lot of our clients use and is solid. And Hona, I've also heard, is doing a lot of great things. So with all that said, I think the biggest piece to take away here is to keep your mind open to these AI pieces. 2 years ago, people were like, oh, that's never going to be a product. I don't need to put it in my firm. Your competitors are using it. Your competitors are getting through their pre-lit stuff much quicker. They're getting through their intake faster. They're signing more cases. They're answering more phone calls, right? The longer that you are resistant to it, the more you're putting yourself outside of the race. And so I do think that there is an absolute need to embrace, but be careful, right? Use your human layers, as Raquel said, but go to your companies that you love and trust, the ones you've been partners with for years. I guarantee you every single company in the legal industry, regardless of their sector, are looking into ways to use AI. Ask them, what are you doing that's new? How can I be a client that you test this on, right? Because they're looking for people to test this information on. And that's how you get ahead, if you can be the first person that they try it on. So build those relationships with your current partners and vendors in the industry. ABA Tech Show is a show that happens every February, and it is a huge trade show floor with tons and tons of new products that come out every year for legal specific. They also feature like the top 5 best legal products that are going to come out in this year. It's like a big competition. And so kind of going to those, being in the room for ABA Tech Show and things like that. Legal Week is another one, but I like ABA Tech Show better. Just to know what's out there. Be the early bird that gets the worm, right? I think that's important. Send a delegate, have somebody who is your technology person go if it's not you, and then maybe invest in an IT department or outsource it to a legal specific IT company. So Taboosh is one of those. I give them a shout out all the time. I think they are wonderful. And I say that because there's ethics involved. So there's all sorts of client and firm client lawyer privileges with advertising on the internet. There's all sorts of things that ChatGPT will create as an advertisement for you, but might not be able to say because of the bar rules. So you want to make sure that your IT team that's leading the charge and helping with those pieces are also specific to legal and kind of have dealt with the ethics portion of this. So that's all I've got in terms of different types of ways to streamline your operations. We have a moment here, Raquel, to try to do both of those polls again. One just popped up for me, which is want to learn more about Stafi. And then if we want to do the second one as well here, if we have time there, we can do that as well. And I believe, Raquel, that's your team that's running those, yeah?
Okay, we're gonna move to the second poll.
Yeah, if we want to do that while we start hitting up our recap.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll let you take it.
So as we wrap up, so here are the key takeaways from our presentation. Delegate for empathy, connection, common sense and judgment, the human touch that your law firm and clients deserve, automate for speed and scale. All right, so hold on, the poll is in front of me. And so the repetitive things that don't need you as much, right? And you know, Nalini was great tools that you brought up here that can be used to streamline your operations, also to have better use of your existing human talent, right? By helping them to be more effective. So when you put those two together, the automation with the delegation, you free yourself to focus on the strategy, on the vision, while your systems and people keep everything moving. because the real magic doesn't come from choosing one or the other. It really happens when both strategies are working together. And that's how you're gonna scale smarter, we're gonna grow faster, and you're gonna avoid burning out along the way. I think Nalini is a great resource if you are interested in learning more about the tools that she presented. She can, as she was mentioning, she doesn't benefit from any specific partnership, but she has a lot of straight, close connections with these companies, and she can make introductions as well. So I think Nalini is a great resource for that. We wanted to leave a little bit of time to answer any questions that you might have. I saw that someone shared on the chat that they were using a few of the tools there, Square Tech, Hona, Sopio,
Oh, nice.
Even Up, looking to implement Foundation Next, and Speed AI for Intake, Game Changer. There is a question, what does Foundation handle?
Yep, and it looks like Joe was able to answer that, but it basically automates your mail room. So all of the physical mail that comes into your office, it'll turn it into PDFs and searchable PDFs at that.
Okay.
Joe's crushing it. He's the one using all of them.
Wow.
Forward
Where's
thinking.
your law firm located, Joe?
He's out in California, which, as I was saying, the West Coast folks, they have more. I think that they're just exposed to these really awesome brands that come out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But they are also a firm that is on top of it, constantly looking into these things, being in the rooms and going to conferences. So I think that's a big piece of it too. It's just keeping yourself educated for sure. So if we have questions, we can take those. I also want to make sure that people have your contact information, and a free strategy session, whatever else you want to say here in terms of these QR codes for you. So I'll leave that up for a few minutes, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put mine up as well.
Wonderful. Yes, the QR code in the bottom is where, if you're interested in knowing who your next hire should be, as Nalini was mentioning before, we've identified over 80 tasks that can easily be delegated by any law firm, and we take the time to go over all of those tasks, and it's very interesting because many tasks you wouldn't even think that you could delegate. So based on that, we will tell you, okay, who the person needs to be from, background, experience, soft skills, hard skills, and no strings attached is just highly valuable when you leave that session knowing whenever you're ready to hire someone new to your team, what type of person you need to bring on. So that's the QR code in the bottom there.
What do you call that dashboard again? Or what's the name of
It's the Legal Delegation Hub is our proprietary
Delegation
software.
Yeah,
And
love the name.
and based on the tasks, we are very task specific. So based on the tasks that you're choosing, they're going to be trained through the Stafi University on how to do that specific task successfully. So that's very important, right? You want them to be able to hit the ground running and being able to do those tasks. You hire them to delegate and free from your plate in the first place.
Ladies, we have 2 questions in the chat before we proceed. So you got one, does Foundation AI require someone to scan in the physical mail and then upload to your case management system?
Yeah, so it's like a bulk, it's like a product itself, right? So you're able to bulk upload a lot of that where you're taking photos and scanning it that way. The faxes will automatically go to the system though. So when you get faxes come in, that can be automatically put into the system. There's a whole process there for that piece, and they have more information on their website about that. But it is streamlined as well, so that piece is not taking up a ton more time for your team.
Alrighty, and we have another one. This is for Raquel. How is everyone handling privacy and HIPAA issue when using virtual staff, particularly staff not in the US?
So all of our clients or law firms, confidentiality is of ultimate importance to us. As part of the vetting and the screening, all of the candidates, we run background checks, global and local, to ensure that, so there's a lot of things that goes into our vetting and screening. It takes about 5 weeks to ensure that we're hiring the candidates, and only 1% of everyone that we screen is hired by us and trained by us. But as far as confidentiality, so first we need to ensure that that person has never been involved in any type of crime, money laundering, fraud, and things like that. We call 5 years of employment to ensure that to verify if those individuals would be rehired. We call their universities to validate degrees, the diplomas. And once they join us through the Stafi University, they are trained between 2 and 4 weeks before we are replacing them with law firms. And as they have to get certified in cybersecurity and confidentiality as well. Once they're placed with the law firms, they're all using VPNs we provide, that's included in the service. So all of the communication is encrypted, and they will be seamlessly added to your law firm. So for example, if you have a voice over IP telephony service that you're using, for instance, we can help you facilitate in making that person an extension of that service, or you could also use a phone number that we provide. So not sure, hopefully I answered that question.
You had another question there too, from Lanson. Are our Stafi VAs educated with these new AI software because they know our practice? I think they can help with implementing.
Yeah, so yes, so as part of the university, they always receive AI training. These specific tools that Nalini is mentioning, I don't think specifically, but they are all trained in how to use AI, ChatGPT, and other tools to help augment their work, not to replace anything, but to augment. And there are some law firms that are using AI. A lot of our clients are using AI, and they're learning as they start because it's very specific to each law firm, the AI tools that they're using. So all I can say right now is that we're training them on how to use AI to improve their work output. But if there's any specific tools that you're using, they're gonna have to learn according to your preferences.
And I will say on that too, this is why I say that a CTO, a chief technology officer, or a technology manager or coordinator is important to your firm. But that role, right? Because once you start engaging with this company and you say, oh, I'm going to use this, then there's a lot of, okay, well, how should we implement it to your firm? That's where you as the managing partner or the partner or the attorney step out and you put that technology person in to say, oh, well, I know how the firm works. This is how we want to implement it. And you delegate it to them. There's no reason why that individual can't be a VA, right? So if trained properly with that kind of skill set, you would just put the VA that you're using from Stafi in connection with that company, and they would then be able to implement it and make sure that whole process gets done, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there are other tools too that we train them into AI tools, Grammarly and other things to be able to check for grammatic errors as well.
And just also wanted to call attention to Joe was just kind of giving more information on his firm, SoCal. They have quite a few locations, 120 plus team members, and he's happy to answer questions from a firm's perspective on any questions that you guys might have on the tools that his firm uses, because they use quite a few of them. So if you guys want to, I don't know if you want to put your information there, Joe, your email or anything, or if you just want to, if people have questions right now, then he's happy to kind of unmute and answer. Yep, there's his email. So if anybody wants to connect with Joe, you'll have the opportunity. I have up here, just in our last few minutes, my information. This is my cell phone number, and my QR code is going to just take you to directly a text message that will send to me. That is just to connect us. And if you have questions on anything, I think that's the same email address that he put in there, but anything that you have and questions about just growing your firm, KPIs, measuring your marketing in general, or any of these AI tools, again, I'm happy to connect you with these companies. And if you haven't spoken to the companies before, often they will extend a discount to your firm because you were referred by me kind of talking about the product. So if you want any of that, I'm here for it.
Wonderful. All right, we have 5 more minutes. Any last minute questions?
I think.
And This is a good, what would be one task you wish you have delegated this week? You didn't have to do intake. Look at that. Which service are you using for after hours and weekends, Kimberly?
Posh Virtual Reception.
You heard about them, Nalini?
Have not heard much about them, but I'll put it on my list. They only take messages, so they're not actually having the conversation and trying to sign it for you there. The other one I'll throw out there is one I've learned about more recently. It's called Case Flood. I don't know if anybody's using that, but Case Flood is an automated intake, and they actually sign the case. So you pay per case signed, essentially, for the whole process.
Yeah.
All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, we can probably give everybody a couple minutes back. Julie, that was Case Flood. It's all one word.
Yeah. Julie should also take a look. We can Stafi Live. It's 24/7 live. We do the full intake as well as receptionist work. All of our agents are highly empathetic. We vet them and screen them just the same way we vet and screen. And we are very careful about putting the right person to do the right role.
And they're signing them too, right?
We're signing them. We go all the way to sign in. We don't charge extra for that. It's just $149 per minute.
That's the deal. Yep.
Yeah, that's the deal. And a lot of.
And no, that other one doesn't give you leads, Julie, just so you know. It's the same as what Raquel just said that Stafi does as well. So would vet them. It's just that it's another similar item. There's a lot of those out there. But it's the leads that are coming in that are calling you, right? It's not they're finding new leads for you.
Right. Just helping qualify them, and depend. I don't know what type of law you work with, but if it's PI, we go all the way to getting the signed retainer. If you require a consultation, we'll just put qualified consultations on your schedule, and we can collect payment for those as well.
That's correct, Julie. So same with Stafi, they'll answer the phone call, they'll work it up all the way, and then they will actually get the retainer signed for you, so that lead turns into a new client. They will not charge extra at that point for signing it. Case Flood is the one that will do the same process. If they sign it, though, they will charge you for each lead that turns into a client that's signed. So different models. Raquel's is awesome there that she only charges per minute. So if you have really good conversions, that's going to save you dollars, because I think it's like $100 on average per signed case the other way around.
Yeah. We can definitely schedule
it's retainers, yeah. New
so that
clients.
you can understand. Yeah. So the clients, we can reach out to you and
definitely would be worth a conversation there for you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, wonderful then. Have a great day, everyone.
So the recording will be sent to them for people who registered, and then if people want to email for the deck, or will you send the deck to all folks who attended?
So I don't know if we'll send the deck, but we're planning on sending the recording. That's something we can.
Okay.
Yeah,
I usually
keep an eye on the emails. Tomorrow we'll be sending everything so everybody that attended and registered can recheck the recording or the notes.
Perfect. And I would, if we can, I would send to some people if they come directly to me just as a PDF, so it'll just have the slides.
Okay. Yeah,
cool.
No problem. We can definitely do that. Wonderful.
All right.
We haven't come up with another topic for next webinar, but we'll.
Yeah, if people are interested, here's one more time. I'll also put your information up to connect with you on LinkedIn and for that free strategy session. The last thing I just want to say was thank you so much for having me and for putting this together. I thought that this was a lot of really great information for our folks, so I'll be excited to share the recording with our clients.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you, Nalini.
Thank you to everyone who attended. All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'll call you, Nalini.